Cool, yeah, so this next trick involves basically taking reverb and then frequency shifting it over time. So, in fact, yeah, let me play it through and then I'll explain how and why it works. So in particular, when you're listening to this, you want to listen to the reverb, which is that background echo you're hearing. It's really cool. Hear how it's going up in frequency? I'll let it do again. So the reverb's pretty stationary in frequency now, but then it goes up. And solo. And the really cool thing about that is it's a bit of a slightly quirky trick, you might say, but it's something that I've been finding especially useful it's almost like a different way to have that riser sound, because if you've been producing electronic dance music for anything more than maybe 3 or 4 months, chances are you may be aware of the fact you have to have all these random kind of sweepy sounds in your track, literally the whole way through. Every 4 to 8 bars you have a sweepy sort of sound. Back to me, cool. Yeah, so you have these sweeps all the way through the track, but that can get a bit predictable, it can get a bit boring, and it can sound like you've literally just grabbed something out of a sample pack and thrown it in your track, which you haven't. That's fine, I suppose, as part of dance music, but the cool thing about this is it's a more interesting way to have the same sort of effect, which is having something rising up over time, but because you're frequency shifting the reverb, it's more interesting and it sounds like it's a part of your track. But yeah, in terms of how it's actually engineered, I have a reverb on a return track. So for those of you who may be a little bit newer to producing, I'm using Ableton here, which is probably the most popular DAW, but literally everything I say here applies to other DAWs too. So in Ableton here, I have a reverb on a return track, and what that means is it's like a dedicated screen. There you go. I'll get better at this, no worries. Perfect, cool. So it's back to screen. So yeah, we're in Ableton here, and I have the reverb on a return track. So it's literally just the reverb as an effect, which you can hear if I solo. And I have the snare drum going into it. So then you hear that reverb goes up over time. The reason it goes up over time is because of this frequency shifter guy with a bit of automation, which is, again, standard stuff if you're somewhat accustomed to producing, but it's a really cool little trick and something I recommend you spend some time playing around with, because I don't hear too many people doing it, but it's just a much more natural way to have the track go up every 8 bars in this case, 16 bars, 4 bars, whatever it is. But yeah, it's a cool little trick and worth playing around with it. If you're in other DAWs, these return tracks are probably called effects buses or effects sends, and there are probably other ways to do the fiddly routing and stuff if you don't have those. But yeah, it's basically the idea is you frequency shift the reverb just so it goes up. It's a really cool little trick.